Ladies and gents, what is up? Welcome back. My name is Sean.
My name is Colin.
And we are My World Creators. And today, we have a very interesting topic that we want to share. A personal story.
Yeah.
And it would be my story. So Colin will be the interviewer. I'll be the interviewee. But yeah, we have been away for some time due to some personal updates in life.
Personal updates in life. A lot has been going on for the past couple of weeks.
Yes,
and,
yes.
But we're glad that you're back and healthy. Like we mentioned the couple of weeks back, it was challenging. All right.
Yes.
Recently you became a father as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Congrats.
About
How long has it been?
7 weeks.
7 weeks.
7 weeks ago. I
their
think.
baby. Their
Yeah.
baby's so cute. But it has not been an easy journey.
It has been a very interesting journey so far. Yeah.
So tell us more about that.
So my wife recently gave birth. It was a C-sec baby because I think she was in labor for like 36 hours or something. And so my baby's name is Tyler. So she's in labor for 36 hours, and Tyler didn't come out at all.
Yeah.
So what happened was we needed to do like a surgery, a C-sec, to take him out. So everything was fine up until Tyler's second or third week. I think second or third week.
When he's born already, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So after we gave birth, we actually was in the hospital for about 5 days because number one, it was a C-section. So Rachel needed to recover. My wife, Rachel, she needed to recover from the surgery and all that. At the same time, she also had like certain complications, like pre-eclampsia, if I'm not mistaken. So we were in the hospital for about 3 to 4 days.
Yeah.
Like about 3 nights we were in the hospital. And I think that was a little bit challenging because I didn't expect that my baby's first few days would be spent in the hospital. I thought it was going to be straight to confinement center, that kind of thing. So and then after that we went to the confinement center for about, I think, 2 weeks. And then in the beginning of the third week, the nurses at the confinement center, like the nurses and the ladies who take care of the babies, came out to us and said, okay, you guys need to calm down, but we want to tell you something. Don't freak out. But your baby has facial paralysis on the right side.
Yeah.
So they had a recording of the video and all that, and they showed it to us. And when I saw that video, I didn't know how to respond because number one is because my mom had stroke, right?
Yeah.
So when I saw Tyler in that video, immediately I was thinking, okay, this is a stroke-like symptom lah, and it reminded me of my mom, and I got scared. And then, so what Rach did was Rach texted her client, who's also a doctor. So she texted her client, and then she showed the video lah of Tyler, and then the doctor saw, and the doctor said, high chance you need to send to an emergency to the hospital for an emergency because they are suspecting number one, neurological damage. Number two is a stroke-like lah, which is a neurological damage lah. So that was very concerning for me because when your baby has a neurological damage, you get very, very worried.
Yeah.
You know,
your firstborn.
Correct. Yeah. You want to make sure that number one, you want to make sure your baby's healthy. Number two, you want to make sure that it's not a long-term damage lah. So yeah lah. So that was that lah. Then we went to the clinic Kesihatan Malaysia. We went for his normal checkup. So coincidentally, that day was his checkup day.
Okay.
Yeah. So thankfully, that day was his checkup day. We told the doctor there. The doctor said, okay. So the doctor wrote a referral letter to PPUM or UMMC, University Malaya Medical Center, and then we went there for under the emergency case, and then got admitted lah.
Okay.
So that was that whole journey that took place on his like second week, and then recently they were back in the hospital again because my baby had COVID. So so yeah, we were joking, like Rich and I was joking, like how I think 50% of Tyler's life was spent in the hospital already. So that was pretty interesting.
Wow, that's crazy. How has emotionally, how has that been for you personally as a father?
Okay, so emotionally for me, I think it was at the beginning it was very, very scary.
Okay.
Because when I've never cried so much in my life before. Like my mom had stroke, and when my mom had stroke, I cried. But when my baby got admitted, it was a whole different ball game. To me, when I spoke to the doctor, it was like, Doc, you do whatever you can do to heal my baby. Whatever it takes, I will do it. So I never really understood that mindset or that heart of a parent until I became one.
Yeah.
And it was very heartbreaking because number one, when I saw Tyler, I think he was like 13 days old.
Okay.
13 days old. And at that point, at 13 days, number one, your baby is like super helpless. Your baby depends on you. And yeah, I mean, once Tyler is 5 years old and then you tell him, he's probably like not going to remember whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
But when you're there and you're seeing your baby cry, right, it's like, oh my gosh, like I want to do whatever it takes to take away the discomfort and all that. But you just cannot do anything lah. So that was that journey emotionally. It was very, very, very tiring, I think, for myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned you were in the confinement center, right?
Yes.
You're meant to get more rest, but I'm sure throughout that time it was.
Yeah, that was interesting. So I mean, the whole reason for the confinement center is for us to just chill and relax. But we're also very thankful for the because they managed to identify that problem very, very early.
Okay.
So it was like we didn't need to wait for like 5 days. It was like the moment it happened, the nurses informed us and we immediately went to the hospital. Okay. So we were very thankful to the confinement center because it was they identified the situation very, very early.
Yeah.
But yeah, supposed to get rest, I ended up not getting any rest. I ended up like being super stressed.
Yeah, I think emotionally it's draining and it was a crazy journey lah. Okay. Thanks for sharing, Sean.
Yeah.
But I'm actually also concerned. You're mentioning, you're like telling doctors, do whatever in your power to make sure my son is healed.
Yeah.
That also came with a financial responsibility or burden.
Yes.
How did this whole incident actually take a toll on you?
Okay, so I think it was stressful because so like coming back to the whole point of insurance, right? So we did not manage to get coverage for Tyler.
Okay.
Which was something that was a mistake on my end as an insurance agent. So what happened was so as like normal clients, what you can do is you can actually get a policy for your baby when your baby is in the womb.
Okay.
Right? And we did that. We did the normal application and all that.
You tried applying for your wife?
Yes. Yeah, for my wife.
Okay.
So that so for Rach, we applied so that Tyler could get covered lah. That time Tyler was like I think 13 or 14 weeks in the belly.
Okay.
14 weeks gestational lah. So we tried to apply, but then what happened was because it's a baby thing, they required Rach to go for a medical examination.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we went for the medical examination, the doctor found leukocytes in Rachel's urine. Basically, it's white blood cells lah.
Okay.
It wasn't a severe thing because if we didn't go for the medical examination, Rach wouldn't have known because there was no discomfort, there was no pain, nothing. Like it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was like asymptomatic. Means it's nothing serious at all.
She didn't feel anything.
Correct.
No,
if she didn't check, she wouldn't have known, right?
Okay.
So but because it is like a unborn child, your baby's in the stomach, so the company was very strict with the issuance of the policy. And they outright declined our policy. They didn't even give us like loading. They didn't even give us like extra exclusions. They outright declined the policy.
Shucks.
So that was a bit sad.
Yeah.
And then the only way we could apply a policy for Tyler was to wait until he was 14 days old.
14 days old. Okay.
But then Chun on the 13th day, the facial paralysis happened and he got admitted to the hospital. So in terms of coming back to financial burden, it was a bit stressful, because it's very fearful when you know that you don't have any insurance coverage to cover that portion to cover the medical bill. So that was a bit stressful for both Rich and I lah, in terms of that side. So on top of the physical stress, the physical tiredness, the emotional stress, there's also that you need to keep thinking about like, oh shucks with the payment and all that.
Yeah.
How do you need to settle the hospital bill and all that?
Okay.
So that was a stressful thing.
Okay. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah, you were
Yeah.
mentioning about Rachel as well. I mean, she's the mother,
Yeah.
and I could only imagine that, when she found out she had leukocytes,
Yeah.
like
Because
how was she feeling emotionally?
okay, so for Rach, I think emotionally she felt very defeated.
Okay.
Because so this is where as an agent the mistake happened for me lah. So when we applied for the policy and all that, from her side she felt very defeated because how she felt was because of her she cannot cover her own baby.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's because of the leukocytes that they found.
Yeah.
She cannot get coverage for Tyler. So she felt very, very rejected at that point. She felt very guilty, like, oh, yo, why is it, And then that whole emotional journey, the whole toll, I mean, it really took a toll on her physically. Same, she has never cried so much before. And for her, it was worse because we were at a government hospital.
Okay.
And I couldn't be there 24/7.
Yeah.
So she was there by herself. And it was more painful for her because like I didn't experience the crying at night when Tyler was going through pain, discomfort and all that. I didn't experience it. She was there to experience it 24/7.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was like for me what I experienced was I missed my family.
Yeah.
I just want to go home with my family, right? But for her, she saw the pain that Tyler had to go through. She saw the discomfort that Tyler had to go through. So it was very, very heavy for her, I think, emotionally. And then at the same time, she also felt very lonely because I was not there with her.
Yeah.
I couldn't be there with her.
Yeah.
So that was the whole, that for her, that was that journey with her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever she was going through.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Would it have been a slightly different case if you guys were maybe in a private hospital?
Definitely. I
Yeah.
think in terms of like private, the comfort would definitely be there. Like
Okay.
we can be together as a family.
And at least journey together.
Yeah, at least
lah.
journey together. I think that was something that would have definitely helped the morale.
Yeah.
Like not just Rachel's morale, but also my morale also. I think that would help us a lot. But yeah lah, I guess that was the whole. I mean, that's just the reality of things lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, thanks for sharing with us, Sean. That was a lot. From what I gathered, like emotionally, financially, I think both you and Rachel had like similar but also different experiences.
Yes.
Tyler's one fighter, man. He's one fighter.
He probably wouldn't even remember lah. But yeah, he was.
Okay.
It was a very interesting journey. I think because it's like a first for all of us, like first kid, a lot of first things. So we were pretty much quite lost also at some point. But I think what was good was we had a lot of support from like friends, family. So that was really good lah.
That's nice to know.
Yeah.
That's nice to know. Okay, one last thing before we end the podcast.
Yeah.
Is maybe what is a word of advice coming from experiencing this firsthand,
Okay.
right? What is
Okay.
one word of advice you would share to some of the listeners out here?
In terms of like insurance or in terms of like generally.
I think in terms of maybe managing this problem, this situation.
Okay.
Maybe in a insurance or
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So I think, not coming from like hard selling or whatnot, right? But as an insurance agent and having experienced it, I think it's very important for ladies that are either going to get married or going to have a kid, planning to have a kid. I think it's important for them to double check the policies that they have, because the mistake that I made was I not to say that I proposed the wrong plan, but I failed to understand the needs of my client at a certain stage in life.
Okay.
Which was, I mean, if we look at it, if we had the insurance coverage, that was one thing that we don't need to think about anymore. And it would have been super easy for us.
Financially as well,
financially
right?
would have
Okay.
been less stress and all that.
Yeah.
But because I failed to understand the stage that my client was in, and so happened my client is my wife. So whatever she experienced, I also experienced. So I kind of got like that first hand, the understanding. So because I failed to understand that, we had to go through that as a family and realize that, okay, we failed to see this, and then now we have to bear the consequences lah, and suffer lah. And I think for the people listening, I think if there's one advice is, number one is don't wait until something happens, because sometimes it's too late if you wait until something happens. Number two is you can actually cover. I mean, if you're planning to get pregnant and all that, right? There are policies that cover your baby even in the womb. Like, you don't need to wait until your baby comes out. There are policies that will cover your baby even in the womb. But you need to identify what are the policies and how to get that immediate coverage. Not having to go through all this like medical underwriting and all that. So I think that is something that people need to know lah. And I'm like,
Okay. Okay, anything else before you before we end? No,
I don't know.
That's it?
I think that has just been a very interesting journey. And that's it.
Okay.
Nothing else to say.
So once again, thank you for sharing, Sean. Thank you for being vulnerable and sharing with us your whole story. So that's it for this week. I think if you do want to find out a little bit more about some of the challenges or some of the things that Sean went through, do let us know in the comments. We'll reply to you, and then we'll share whatever information that you are looking for. With that said, my name is Colin.
My name is Sean.
And that's it for this week's podcast. We will see you next time.